tip.
Good afternoon. It is May 27th, 2025. You're listening to a little column A, little column B, hosted by Will Alimonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? We have a national nightmare on our hands. You probably aren't aware of it. Probably a lot of people aren't aware of it, but I want to bring it to the forefront. We are about 6 weeks away from the 4th of July. Okay, next year, it's going to be the really big one. 1776, 250 years later, boom, it is going to be a big party. But the problem is this year, and it was going to be for the second year in a row. It sure sounds like Joey Chestnut will not be at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. They had an issue last year. He signed a deal with Impossible Meats. Nathan's didn't like that. They wouldn't work with him at all. He's been on several podcasts saying, I don't know why this is a big deal. I have sponsorships with other people. This should just be fine. And Nathan's need to get their act together. I said last year, okay, they're going to do this 1 year. There's a big show. Now when he comes back, this will be like the big, big to do. Now it seems like you're just so concerned about money that you're not having the greatest hot dog eater of all time. By far, not even close. And you're not going to have him at your event because you're squabbling over some money. Will, how do we fix this problem?
Well, he has another title. It isn't just the greatest hot dog competitive eater. It's the only competitive eater you can put a face to. If you're in the business of competitive eating and putting on entertainment of all this, is there anyone else you need to have? You have one client. There isn't anyone else that's required to make this thing go other than him. So the idea that you're going to play hardball with the only guy there is to make deals with is just silly. You're not going to win this. Like, what do you think? They're going to find another one of these guys? There isn't another one of these guys. This guy's won by 50 hot dogs in the last 10 years. They tried to bring the Kobayashi thing on Netflix to make that a big deal. Was that close, Zach? Do you even remember?
Destroyed him. Was not close.
So what are we talking about here? This is a competition that hasn't even been a competition. This is a choice to either parade Joey Chestnut around every year or not, and they're choosing not to. I think it's a bold choice, but I mean, what are we talking about here? This is an event that's a summer topic that we're opening the podcast with. This is I know there's less basketball games going on. This is the red flag right here that we're just getting closer to these summer topics. But I mean, what's the best case scenario for this event?
When there's an American hero that is being disrespected, I don't care whether it's summertime, wintertime, it needs to be brought up. And this is the news on today. And like I said, 6 weeks out. Hopefully this is the start of it. I think this is a little earlier than it was last year when the rumors and the rumblings started here. And I just like to get this out there ahead of time. So, we can start it. We'll be the tip of the spear, and then we'll get, more media behind us that can put pressure on Nathan's to get this taken care of. This is how I know that this is just squabbling. Cooper Flag played at Duke. Everybody knows him, right? I don't know if he's more famous than Joey Chestnut, but, there's a good chance that he could be. He has a deal with New Balance. Whole sign thing, all ready to go, has for, at least a year. Whenever you're, allowed to do that, the rules have changed recently. NIL, New Balance guy. Duke is a Nike school. So when he played on the court, he didn't wear the New Balance. He wore Duke stuff, or Duke, Nike stuff. And then on his own. And now once he's in the NBA, it is all New Balance stuff. That is like way higher towards the top than, okay, Joey's supported by Impossible Meats. And yeah, if he made a whole big thing about how he had to eat Impossible Meat hot dogs, so it's going to be different than the other hot dogs that people were eating. But no, he hasn't made that request at all. I think this is perfectly fine.
I also, can we just maybe acknowledge the idea that maybe Joey doesn't want to eat hot dogs anymore? Maybe he's how many hot dogs does this guy need to eat in a lifetime before he can say, you know what? I'm kind of over Nathan's hot dogs. I'm going to do the impossible ones. But this is a lifetime of competitive eating. It's not like he's young. It's like we're just finding out about this.
What?
He's been doing this for a while.
Are you crazy? Like I said, one of the greatest athletes of our generation. Do you think LeBron James is thinking right now, you know what? I'm getting tired of putting the ball in the hoop. Oh, just slam dunking it on guys. I don't know. I don't know.
He already was competing in other chicken wings and other sort of eating competitions. That's what it should be viewed as, is him just competing with a different item. I don't understand why it's such a resentment that he chose.
The hot dog one, that's the one at the top.
So what, if it was
he does the other ones,
or
there's
sausage?
Sure other, he's got records everywhere, but it's make another comparison. It's like the Masters versus other events. There are other events, but I mean, the Masters, that's at the top.
You could say the Masters all you want. If there's never a guy as good as him that comes through it, what's the point of it? It's just a crapshoot every year. average man's best bet. Like there is no star here. He's the star.
He's the star.
I can't believe they're doing all of this without really promoting anyone else. Do you want to be the guy? You could be the new face. You want to be the face of Nathan's Hot Dogs?
I can't eat that many hot dogs.
I don't even want to think about eating that many hot dogs. I can't believe we spent this much time on this topic. Like the other thing is we're arguing over like the worst way to enjoy food. Like this is the worst way you could possibly eat a hot dog, is it not? Through these competitions, dunking it in water and then shoving it. It's awful. It's disgusting.
I'm not saying that it's not disgusting. I mean, there's a lot of athletic endeavors that do not look the best, but it's about the human spirit and perseverance. And Joey Chestnut just beating everybody else down. You mentioned kind of casually, like kind of offhand, like Zach, you could hop up, you could be the new face, you could do this. Joey's been doing this for a long time. There could have been a kid, that was young and said, "I'm going to start training. I'm going to take this seriously. I want to be a competitive eater." Joey Chestnut inspired me. And in that time, no one has even come close.
That kid's not out there, man. Nobody's out there doing this. This event is over. For the idea of it, we're going to be tuning in saying, "Oh, another one for Joey." Nobody cares about this event. It's over. It's over. It was fun while it lasted, and it was dominated by this. This is post Tiger Woods golf now. All right, no, you don't know who's going to win every year, and you're going to care less and less every year until that live impossible hot dog thing really starts picking up. That's what this is here.
Interesting. Now you're talking there. That's where some money could come in.
Yeah, we need impossible live sausage is what we need. Yeah, that's what we need. All right, let's move on to NBA. Enough of the competitions of the food competitions. We're in the middle of the NBA playoffs. Couple teams, couple games away from the actual NBA finals. Minnesota OKC was last night. It is a 3-1 series lead for OKC after a kind of exciting ending, but it's really more drama than it is basketball stuff. A good game by Minnesota. I've seen everyone across all of my podcasts this morning trashing Julius Randle, and he didn't have a good game. I'm not here to defend him. But I think the reason you have Julius Randle and the reason you ask him for these higher expectation sort of type games is because you don't want to rely on McDaniels and Vincenzo and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And I thought for everyone that was hard on Randle, they didn't bail him out with being like, well, McDaniels had 22, Vincenzo had 21, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker had 23, and an incredible game just in general. So why are we all ragging on Randle is really what I'm saying all this, when these other guys stepped up and they bailed him out. And it all kind of evens out the same way, because I don't think you can count on these guys to get 20 points next game, and maybe you can count on Randle. Is it just we're at this point in the playoffs, so there's no excuses anymore? Like there's only one way we can win.
Well, one of the NBA fans' favorite thing to do is to dunk on a guy that does not live up to the most recent expectations. Randle's a little bit of a victim of his own success right now. In the last series, just played amazingly. But we've seen this before. Randle is he's an up and down guy. This isn't why he is not like the premier, superstar of the team. I mean, this is one of the reasons why the Knicks said, "Hey, thanks, but no thanks. Like we're going to move on. We're going to be fine." And could make some argument that they are fine without him. And on the Knicks, I saw times where he was awesome in the playoffs and other times when he was not very good. So I think it's just comparing most recently to, hey, this could be a guy. He could be, the second banana to Anthony Edwards and help lead this team. But I think part of this is, some of it is, credit to OKC of once they, lock you down, and Randle, bigger guy, is able to take advantage of other teams. But OKC is not one of those teams that you could just push around.
I think OKC is almost excited to defend Julius Randle in the style that he's going to attack them at, versus it's harder when you have these three shooters being stretched out with a great Anthony Edwards at the top. It's and a bunch of bigs, and Rudy crushing the rebounds. I thought he had a better game than it never looks like he's having a great game, but he just looks huge out there on certain possessions, and I don't know how you counter that. And the other game too, I think the bigs are, you're looking down the bench, and you're like, is there anybody tall enough that we could throw out here? Like we just need a couple fouls. Somebody come be a body out here. OKC, they have incredible depth here, but this is the game where Jalen Williams hits those couple of threes, and that's it. That's the elevation of him being kind of an average player to a really above average player, making those 2 threes at the end.
In the in the Nuggets series, Jalen was having some problems, and there was some talk of, ooh, should OKC hold on to him? Is he really a guy for the future? Could he be somebody that's in the mix? Or are they gonna make a big swing on a Durant or on a Giannis? Could he just get put into the mix? And that's where it's fun to have these hot takes, but this is it's almost to compare it to March Madness of a guy has a hot run for a couple weeks in March, and all of a sudden he's shooting up the draft boards. And you got to kind of reel some people in, saying, "Yes, that was awesome." And just the way that Jalen wasn't playing great. Of hey, you know what? Maybe we just don't get rid of this guy because of a week or two of like not amazing performances.
I think it's also tough when you're clearly kind of the second guy. All right, Anthony Edwards, incredible. He's going to be number one. That's fine. But when you're the second guy, you either have to live up to two or be almost good enough to be debated for one. And if you're not either of those things, it's like, oh my God, what are you? It's just like you fall off a cliff suddenly of being important.
And what is Jalen, 24?
Yeah, no, I mean, the pressures on this OKC team, they haven't done anything before. They don't have a whole lot of history of all this. This is kind of their first crack at it in so many
he's
ways.
24. This team is super, super young. Like, they are like way ahead of what I think, not the expectations coming into the playoffs, because they had a 18 crazy lead over anybody else in the West. But I think coming into the season, there was some disappointment. They flamed out a little early last year and thought, hey, that might happen again. They're young, but the average age of this team is super young.
It is a little scary. PMT was the podcast that was saying this a little bit more frequently, that this is more than likely going to be the weakest OKC team we ever see when we just kind of flash forward over the next 5-10 years. That's kind of scary to think, because this team's pretty good. This team won 60 games this year. This team's had some games where they just dominated teams in the playoff. I don't know how they get better, and the more I look at it, it's like I don't even know how Minnesota's in this series. I don't know how they hung around last night. It was like desperation threes of just being just so close, but not really that close. Just staying in the game, making it look like entertaining, but I didn't feel like Minnesota was really going to win the game at any point. A lot of credit to them.
I thought down the stretch, it's more in the Eastern Conference, but some of the crazy things that we've seen when DiVincenzo hit that three, and I think brought him within maybe one. It was under a minute. Okay, maybe one stop, but Chet, he got beat on that drive, but then just erased it off the backboard. Just a huge moment of the game, and it's just basically pinning it off the backboard. Like you'd see in some 1 versus 16 matchup.
I thought the block was actually very impressive, that he didn't foul. He knew he had kind of gotten set up and gotten beat, and he just turned around and recovered without doing anything. Silly. There are some weird things that went on at the end of the game here. There's the last play where Shea recovers the rebound, falls to the ground, and decides to just throw the ball towards the other end, which is there's no one at the other end, and there's only, in theory, 1.5 seconds left here. It goes out of bounds, of which a fan catches it before it could have, in theory, hit the ground. And he catches it with, I don't know, what did they give him, 0.5, 0.4? I don't even remember what they gave him.
It was 0.1 initially, and then they added 0.4, or they added it to become 0.4.
Who's most at fault of all this? Because Shea could just hold on to the ball. He just made a bunch of free throws at the end of the game. He looked great at the line. He could just taken 2 more, but instead, I don't want to shoot any more free throws, and I'm just going to throw it in the air from the ground, from the seat of my pants. Like, he's not even standing.
I could see the concern of you generally know time and score. Like you said, he's falling. So I think the concern is going out of bounds, and now you're giving the Wolves the ball on their end, and so you want to avoid that at all costs. And you just got to throw it up a little higher or a little farther. Like it was, an excited fan or another tenths of seconds, and this isn't even mentioned.
Why are we pointing at the fan as if he did anything wrong here? Shea's got to throw a better pass or a better ball. Like, that's just the worst pass he threw all day. That thing was going out of bounds anyways. I don't even if it hit the ground.
I had no problem with that. I'm actually surprised that you don't see something like this happen more frequently. Obviously, it's more allowed in in baseball, but It was the end of the game. The fan was standing up. The ball is coming over, and you do what any natural like reaction of a ball coming at you is he catches it. It doesn't go onto the floor. Doesn't like jump up and there was no, if I touch this ball sooner, we'll have more time. It was just a complete human reaction.
Well, what are the alternatives, too? He dodges out of the way, and the guy behind him just gets hit in the face from a ball that could have easily been caught and stopped by the guy in front of him, like a normal human being. But now he's like following these NBA technicalities so strict that some other guy's got a black eye behind me now. Like that's not great.
Yeah, I had zero problem with the fan.
My next problem. So this miracle happens. Minnesota has somehow blessed with 0.5 or whatever seconds left, and an opportunity they really shouldn't even have. I think Shea should be at the line, or that pass should have went far enough down the court, and clock should have expired. So they get one last shot here, Zach. I don't know what play they drew up here or what the idea of it all was, and I know the inbound, I think you can see on the replay, and it's getting tipped by Chet, but I just, that's the best we could do. I mean, we were just granted this miracle opportunity of you're down 2, you have the ball, you have a chance to get a shot off, and we don't even get the ball in?
I think it's tough with it started with 0.1, so you can't get a catch and shoot, and then I think it was 0.4, which with 0.4, you can technically try to catch and shoot it, but it's incredibly hard. Like the odds of this, like it was mostly you have to throw it up to the hoop, and you're hoping for a tip in. And I think that's what they were going for. And I think you're probably right that Chet got a finger on it, just because it was inbounded. I'm going to call it in a normal spot. It was right around half court, so you have plays ready for that. And I think you just got to throw it up to the hoop, and you hope a miracle to try to tip it in.
Well, it wasn't just throw it up near the hoop. It was throw up near hoop near Rudy. Why? Just put Edwards down there. Let him jump to the second backboard and just try and do something with it. I didn't think there was no chance with Rudy, though. There was no chance.
It's more of I think you would like to think that Ant would be able to jump, but he's just not as tall as Rudy, where he can get up without having to get any sort of a running start. But in all generalness here, I think there's a much more of a Hail Mary situation of throw it up towards the hoop, and everybody is going up there trying to get a piece of it.
How did you feel about everybody fouling at the end of the game? Have we seen enough leads blown that you're like, it really was like a deflating energy of like, all right, we're not gonna we're up 3, we're not gonna let them get a 3 off, we're gonna foul them, they're only gonna get 2, go 1 for 2 or whatever happens. But man, is it a momentum killer for a game that was just flying around in that second half?
It is going to be interesting. This is relatively new. We are up by 3 points, and we are the ones that are going to foul to prevent this. Just as a general competitor, I don't like it because it's like you're just like using the rules weirdly. But I totally get from these teams of this gives us the best case to win. That's what you should do. So I'm totally good with following it. The same thing happens in college much more frequently now. It was interesting. I felt like today is the first time, maybe it's more on like the NBA Twitter, of saying, we need to figure out a way to get this out of if you foul under, it's like there's a bunch of ideas. Like if you foul under 2 minutes and you're up more than 3, it's just 1 foul shot in the ball. Like I think it's gonna be hard to legislate this, this out. I agree with you that you got games going back and forth, and then all of a sudden it's a free throw back and forth. I think one of the biggest issues is the teams are only going to get better about doing this. Right now, there's confusion. This is a new tactic. This has not been around for that long. So everybody knows from growing up of we are down, we need to foul because we need to get the ball back as quickly as possible. It's a time situation. But now these winning teams, I feel like, are still in that mindset of, oh, we have to foul. So that means we have to foul like as quickly as possible. When the idea, no, you don't want to foul as quickly as possible. You want to let off as much time as possible, then foul before there's somewhere where they can actually legitimately make a shot. So it's like force them to pass it into the backcourt. Maybe you can turn them once or twice, and then you foul them after a second or two has come off. I think OKC fouled both times, and like only like a tenth of a second went off. It's like, guys, you're doing this backwards. So I think they're only going to get better at this, and it's just going to be less exciting ends to games of they're going to know, okay, fouls at, 30 seconds or the shot clock is off and, this game is basically over because unless there's a free throw meltdown, then this game's over.
I think we just need to speed this up in some way. And I almost, it's really what slows this down is, all right, so there's a timeout. The other team is going to inbound the ball now, and the other team is going to foul. And you can look at it from either direction, whether they're up or down. For whatever reason, let's just say they're going to foul. There's the foul. Then they go to the line. I almost want to skip the foul part and be like, hey, we're going to intentionally foul. Let's just put the guy on the line. It's only one free throw or something. We don't even need to run the inbound play. We just go right to the free throw line. And I know you want to do the chance for the steal and all this, but if it's a scenario where we're up 3 and we're like, we don't even want to let this team shoot, let's just put them right in the line. Let's not take any clock off. And
almost like an intentional walk.
Exactly. Let's just
the coach just like makes a hand motion and just send them right to the line.
So then we do that. Now, there has to be almost an additional consequence, though, where if you do still intentionally foul and you didn't do that, and I don't know what that is, though, but like that's how we speed this up at least, where it's like, hey, we're going to intentional foul and we're not going for the steal, of which going for the steal is kind of ridiculous in the NBA. I mean, it takes the other team to make a mistake. Rarely is it like we played that good a defense to actually force a steal. You're hoping the other team just makes an error.
You say that, but the Knicks just a couple of nights ago, almost did that. I believe it was game 2. Pacers trying to come back. They throw it. I think Brunson threw it into Hart, like over the top. And then there was a loose ball. I think it happened twice. Maybe one of the times was in game 1 where they didn't end up losing the ball, but like it was in the mix. But I think part of this excitement is after the fouling back and forth and it gets to, okay, now we're under 7 seconds, that intentional miss. I think there is some excitement to that. It feels very much like an onside kick. It very, very rarely works, but it is exciting knowing, hey, Anthony Edwards is going to have to try to miss this free throw. And we've seen this go like horribly wrong so many times, but when it does work out correctly, it is always an awesome play.
I don't know. I don't love the intentional miss. I just spent the entire game watching everyone claw and get every single point they could possibly get, and now the game is going to be decided by how well he misses a shot so he can get another shot. Like that just, I understand the desperation. It's the strategy of it, and it's what everybody should be doing, but I'm not excited to have more of those games where somebody has to miss. I want to see guys make shots, and I just wanted to speed up it towards the end. Like I don't want timeouts in between free throws either. Like if we could ban that and there's just no timeout, it's just an advancement, because what are we drawing up? I watch all these teams go to the sideline and yeah, sure. They get their Gatorade. Maybe a guy brings out a clipboard, but the timeout's really not that long anyways. They're just advancing to the half court. Let's just skip that 30 seconds and just go right to half court. There has to be, or right to the free throw line after. There's just so many stops that we can skip. I don't think we need every single one of these. And it's hard because I'm basically saying some possessions are more valuable than others. And it's purely from like a spectator entertainment standpoint and not really a gamesmanship. And we're so close to having a perfect game. This has been an incredible playoffs. And I watched this game in the end and like, this is just boring. Like this is like checkers now. Like I'm watching a card game and I'd rather be watching somebody trying to make shots with someone trying to stop them and not free throws. All right. Next game. Anything else here?
Just one last thing that you were mentioning before about how this could be the worst OKC team. I think you had mentioned that earlier in the weekend, and I looked it up and I'm pulling it up again now. So to give you a frame of reference, I don't know exactly where the luxury tax jumps in, but next year, this is without the Celtics signing anybody, but they're at just under $227 million. So that's well into luxury tax. The Oklahoma City Thunder for next year, this is with everybody that you could name on the team still signed, and the total is $177 million. So kind of joking about this, but at least for next year, they should be running this back, no problems.
Not even that. The other thing is, we've kind of already associated that they've drafted so well that all these other draft picks will go successful. You know how hard the draft is, all right? I'm not saying they're going to go 0 for 10 on the next 10 after kind of going 10 for 10 on the last, but they're not a lock. They might have to make improvements other ways, and the exciting part about all this is that their players keep getting better that they already have. So like, it's so many good problems going on here that it's like, oh no, what are we gonna do with all these successful players now? Like, this is
Not
good problems
not
to have.
yeah, not only that of we talked a couple weeks ago when the lottery came out, they lost the possibility of getting the Sixers pick at 7. 7 would have been a nice pick. Have anytime you have a lottery pick, just based on being able to get an actual impactful player as well as you get a cost controlled player for quite a few years. But you take a look, they've got the 15th pick. Again, like you said, they've drafted well. That does not mean you're going to draft well in the future. Even if they pick the most perfect guy, well, you need to find like minutes for him. Like even that can be difficult. But if they could just find someone that is decent, might even not play real rotation minutes, almost like Peyton Pritchard situation of he doesn't mature next year, but kind of down the way when you do have to start paying these guys money and guys do leave for somewhere else, but you got this guy kind of hiding out behind. 15th, like that's still mid first round. You could still get some good talent there.
I think the bench has been more valuable in these playoffs than any other playoffs at all. I mean, the depth of these teams, the comebacks that we're seeing are happening with bench rosters. It's not like the starters went back in there and just kept grinding it out. It's like, no, the starters went in, mailed it in. We're down 20. Just figure out something else to come in here. And these other guys are coming in off these other teams. And it's starting to feel like the depth of OKC and Indiana, where the second five is a pretty good five. I mean, actually, even the Knicks' second five. I mean, McBride and Mitchell are game-changing guys. It's regardless of what lineup you want to put them with, those guys are coming in the game and being a really positive impact to the point where Mitchell Robinson actually starts this last game where they added the lineup. They put Josh Hart on the bench. The depth is incredibly important, and I'm seeing it with all the teams. And the weaknesses that I'm seeing on just like the Knicks is like, well, where are you going to find the next guy? Is McBride going to be hot? Can you count on Landry Shamet for 3 points or campaign? I mean, what? I don't know. I'm looking at all these other guys. It's like Pacers, OKC, even Minnesota. And it's like, wow, I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker was awesome last night. It sure would be nice if that was like your 6th or 7th man, right?
Right?
Yeah. How's OKC going to screw this up though? Like I'm saying though, where it's like, all right, the Stars didn't get it in there. We'll put the next 5 in. It's like the next 5. You don't even want to deal with the defense of the next 5. Like it's just crazy. It's insane to be this loaded and to add more and to continue to add more. It's a good timing for it all, especially with all these leads going up and down. Whether you're up 20, put the bench in. Down 20, put the bench in. Who knows what happens?
One of the things that I kind of forgot about with the Pacers, and I think it was Zach Lowe was mentioned it earlier today, they have Isaiah Jackson. It's like you talk about depth of a guy that was in the rotation, and especially a defensive guy that could always be helpful. Yep, that's right. So just always a helpful reminder because you always are focused on your own team, and you look at comparisons of our guy was hurt when this happened, and just remember like everybody's got guys that are hurt. This all happens across the league, and you're just more focused on your own team.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Indiana, New York. It's 2-1. Knicks got the job done on the road in Game 3. It was a tight one. It was a good one. Another good game. I'm happy to again watch games. It was fun to watch. The Knicks collapsed a little bit, but we're getting to a point now where there's less and less games, and I don't need a sweep. All right, I'm not saying this needs to go 7, but we got to get a little bit more. So I was almost okay with the Knicks winning. That being said, I've watched 3 of these games as well as you have. Do you think that there's clearly a better team in this series?
I think the Pacers are executing better. I'm not sure all the way if they're the better team. That Game 1, again, this is the 3rd time they've done it. It's like 3 out of 4 times, like ever, on the comeback. It's like it never happens. The Halliburton shot at the end of the game. We were watching it, and it was like midway through, or it wasn't even midway through the 4th. At that point, I think it was 4 or 5 minutes to go, and you and I both, metaphorically, looked at each other and said, this is over. No, don't done. And then Nesmith goes absolutely off. I was thinking through it. Have you seen that sort of flamethrower heat checkness at any level?
I've seen the desperation of it, where those shots are taken.
But it actually works.
Yeah, no, they don't go in. It's like that, but that's what you're supposed to do. I've seen other guys attempt this. Maybe they get 1, maybe they get 2. They don't get. What do you get 6 in the 4th?
I think it was 5 down the stretch. And, some guys like fell down. There's definitely one where Hurt kind of tripped a little bit, but he was still getting to the spots. And I was thinking, like, I haven't even seen somebody get that hot, in pickup where it doesn't even really matter. Like, it's just at any point. I've seen definitely, Curry heat checks. I was mentioning, I think one person, brought up Klay Thompson versus OKC game, where I think that was the third quarter though, which I mean, still impressive, but trying to compare it where this is a playoff game where these are must hit shots, and just you see the Knicks crowd getting more and more nervous. And yeah, the Halliburton shot, just a second and a half after it hit the rim up in the air, that was over.
Yeah,
that was over. He drove in. He had to turn around. It was a crazy shot, and once it hits the rim, that's over. It never drops back in.
All right, it was also last week. Let's talk about the recent game here, the Karl-Anthony Towns game.
We'll talk about this. The Knicks, again, down 20 points. This is the third time that they've done it in the playoffs. That they should be done. This one, I think, is different from the Celtics one because it was in the in the first half. But Cat is not good until the fourth quarter, and then just turns it on. He's one of the most frustrating players because he has so much talent. He has the size, and he just forgets about it, and just I'm gonna take threes because I think that's cool. And it's he's a good 3-point shooter, but he's I don't want to do the Barkley, get your or is it Barkley or Shaq, get your butt in the paint. But it's the Celtics struggled with it, and I think that the Pacers struggle with it as well. As if he gets the ball in the post and wants to go and score, it's only himself stopping it, and then he gets confused or something, and then he's doing just stupid fouls that I feel like he's the only one committing them. Or you have to know these are fouls. For sure, there can be games here and there, and players are complaining all the time, but these are just clear cut. And it's so frustrating. I feel like he could be such a better player. And just he was able to show it in the fourth, but I think he went into the fourth with only it was 4 points, something really low. But I know coming into tonight, E. Smith is active to that ankle in game 3. He is on both ends has been really crucial. So I know we've seen a few times in this playoffs, guys twist their ankle, look like they Anthony Edwards specifically of, oh no, he's done for the playoffs. He may be done, till next season, and then is back later in the game. So hopefully they're able to put whatever magic fairy dust they got on there, because I think that the Pacers are going to need him if they want to win tonight, even at home.
I think they can do it even without him. I do think he'll play. I think he'll be fine. But I just think the Pacers are a better team. The Karl-Anthony Towns dominating at the end is almost realizing that he's a mismatch and that he's been bailing a lot of teams out is just hilarious to me. But I've also seen the game where Cat goes for 65 points and they lose because he doesn't want to pass at the end because he's trying to set the 12 3-point record in a game or some nonsense like that. They lost that game, and that hasn't erased in my mind yet that this guy had 40 points, I think, at halftime or something ridiculous and was going crazy in the third quarter. And then at the fourth, he just kept chasing it, wasn't playing within the team, and then gets completely distracted from it. He's certainly a hard guy to defend on defense. He's just out of position. His hustling is just fouling. I don't know how to correct it. It's hey, we want you to play harder. I don't think he knows how to play hard without fouling, and that's something you should learn in high school. I don't know. Just maintain the aggression. But you want to talk about learning something here. When is Brunson going to learn that these are some really bad fouls on him? I'm amazed that he is just constantly looking these refs in the eye, challenging them to foul him out game after game, and then having these reckless thirds where he just racks up 3, 4, 5 fouls sometimes in playoff games that he is so important for. This team doesn't go without him. I actually think it's a huge consequence to them when they spend the entire game watching him isolate, and then he fouls out in the third, and suddenly it's hey guys, you got to figure out offense now without him. I don't think that's helping.
What's crazy is that when they gave it to Cat in game 3 and Brunson was sitting, that actually it almost kind of helped them because they were able to put some more defensive pressure. And I'm not saying that the Knicks are better without Brunson, but for that stretch, that game 3, I mean, that might have saved their season, which is crazy to say.
Brunson's fouls, it just seems like something you could easily learn for. And the other thing is once he is in foul trouble, he's kind of a different player. especially defensively. He's avoiding contact. He's easy to score on. He was already a target. Now he's an easier target. Like he's giving them that is what I'm saying. He doesn't have to. So many of these fouls are the fouls that, he's begging for on the offensive end and then getting called for on the defensive end. It's like, dude, stop. You can't get it both ways. The little knick-knack fouls you're getting over there, are getting called against you, and you're like, what do you mean? What is all this? I'm barely even playing defense. I'm just amazed that he hasn't figured that out and that he's actually granted teams opportunities of putting him on the bench purely on foul trouble. It's not even a defensive matchup. It's his own control, too. Same thing. All right, who you got tonight then? 2-1.
I think the Knicks are gonna tie it up. Keep this going.
All right, well, you're obviously more desperate for more basketball, too, so I guess that's better for all this. Does the Halliburton dad thing have any storyline to this game in any way or not, that he has been reinstated to be only in the suite?
I think he's gone through his penalty. I think he just, proud dad lost his mind. You can't go at Giannis. That's just terrible. Like, that's just not. There's nobody gonna win out of that. And I think it was, hey, you're suspended, in quotes, indefinitely. But they really didn't expect the Pacers to then beat the Cavs and then to be up 2-0 going back to Indy. So I think it's gone long enough. Let him back in.
I disagree.
Zero, like, you can't mess up again, that's for sure. But yeah, no, he could be in there.
I disagree. I don't think he should be there. I think they should have made him wait to the finals if they made it, and then it would have been all right, because the finals is really like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he's family. I understand it. There's a lot more media around finals and more prepared for those sort of situations exactly. So, like, it would have been fine. And I'm not saying anything's going to happen tonight. The Giannis thing was just so wrong. And you say you don't do that to Giannis. You don't do that to any NBA player. Like,
True. Yeah. No. That's,
you don't do it just because Giannis is 7 feet and 200 pounds. It's like, no, you don't do that because any NBA player can just do anything to you. You have no idea the size of these people and the strength. And
well, no, but he should just have some idea, because someone's just on the Olympic team and is playing with with these guys, like, playing basketball his whole life. He knows how big these guys are.
He doesn't impact the game in any way is the answer to all of this. All right. That's why he doesn't get to talk to the other players. That's why he doesn't go on the court. That's why he doesn't do the press conference after. He is a fan. He's a father and a fan. That's it. He goes.
This is the issue with not, it wasn't to this level, but there was some problems with John Morant's dad.
They're not on the team. They're rooting for the team.
It can lead to a distraction. So this is what I think it's a perfect middle ground. You're in the suite. They'll for sure show him on camera. I think Tyrese will feel better about it, but it's still, you're in the suite. Like, you're far away from the court, but you're in the building.
And it's a perfect compromise. Maybe he just needs to be there to prevent himself, because he's just tempting. I mean, you're right there on the court. I get it. If you've been in pickup, man, the guys can hear you. Like, the guy on the sideline can hear you and you can hear him. Like, it's right there. So I get it. But you just shouldn't spoil that opportunity of being allowed to be on the court like that either. Like, this is a privilege, right? Like,
yeah, especially too. Like, you just knocked the Bucks out, and you're gonna be playing more basketball, and you're gonna have plenty of time to be celebrating.
I mean, he didn't even catch the ball like the other guy in the OKC game. All right, that guy is closer to being on the team than this guy is.
Fair.
All right, anything else to the NBA?
Oh, one last thing. I wanted to be on the record because of my podcast. So you and I, we're not fans of the Jason Tatum. You need a game winner. The step back 3-pointer. I think there are better options both for Tatum and for the team. But just want to point out that this is not a guaranteed thing that is some sort of like, clutch gene that you need to have. Brunson literally won the clutch player of the year, and in game 1 and in game 2 had legitimate, real 3-point shots to tie the game, missed in both of them. This is just what happens. So move on.
Now, hold on. I got to finish my beer. I said I would wait till you said Jason Tatum.
I mean, this is pretty deep into the podcast. I think that's pretty good. Only one mention of, that's only my second mention of a Duke player. I mean, that's pretty good for me.
I know. You opened with Duke in like the first 2 minutes. I was like, man, summer topics have hit. Nobody knows it yet, but this is how we're filling this in.
I didn't even bring up the 2 recruits that we got. I got a lot more in the, in the tank. So,
jeez,
no, I'm all good.
I spent last week hyping up Khan. This week we're just sneaking them all in. Man, you're just getting your way. This is your podcast. This really is. There's a lot of call and B today.
No, I'm all set. I'm all set with the NBA. Sure looks like we are going to be wrapping up the West very, very soon. So maybe the Knicks can get a couple of wins here and make this interesting.
All right, let's move on to, I suppose it's still football, but do you care at all about flag football in the Olympics? And now that NFL players are in some way or form allowed to participate. This is something that we don't have before. It doesn't exist. So this is new. How can everyone care about this so much when we don't even know what it is?
Have you heard about America and how much we love football? And now this is more football of the flag variety, but it's against the rest of the world. And it's in America, the Olympics in 2028. So I think this all makes sense. Summertime football?
Yeah, 7 days a week and 7 seasons a week. Yeah, whatever. Every season, just football. That's what we need. I'm excited. I'll watch it. I like the Olympics, but this doesn't move the needle for me. All right. I mean,
what I think is going to be cool is basketball is moving more and more international. Again, was it for the 6th time in a row? A non-American has won the MVP. So football still very American, and here's an opportunity for these guys to be able to play for their country. You know, they've played their entire lives, but this hasn't been an option. I think that is cool for them. I think that there's still some more hurdles that have to get kind of jumped over here to make this actually work. Because cool, NFL said these guys can play. I believe there's going to be some stipulations about how many guys per team, as well as there's not that many guys on a flag football team. There are actual guys that have been playing flag football at some sort of professional level. Those guys aren't the most thrilled about this, but also remember we deal with this a little bit for basketball, and I'm assuming other sports, of you need to qualify before you can play. And so I maybe because this is in America, we're just going to kind of get green lit, but I don't know when the off season is, or when the season is for flag football. So if that's in the spring, are these guys going to have to play in these spring games to then be ready to play in the summertime game? So I'll be interested to see as we go along this route. But I think it's going to be awesome. I mean, think about it. You got Tyreek Hill out there without a helmet on, so you can actually see what these guys look like. I think it's going to be awesome.
I think, if we get Tyreek Hill, that'd be great. I don't know who we're going to get, is really what I'm saying. And it's also that we're coming in with the dream team already. Do you want to go a couple of years with the double A guys, the college recruits?
No. Dude, this is not basketball where they were using the college guys forever and then they brought in the NBA guys and it's continued on. This is flag football. There's a good chance this is the only time there's ever flag football going on here.
Yeah, but you're still competing against a whole bunch of other countries that don't have flag football, to my understanding. So what are we dominating here? Who's competing with us? Is there another country you're like, oh, well, better show up today. We're playing blah, blah, blah.
I wouldn't just poo-poo the rest of the world so quickly.
No, but I think they're going to prioritize rugby. They're not playing this.
I think there's going to be opportunities for rugby, Australian rules football. I think I think that there's going to be some other countries that are going to be in the mix here. There's probably some NFL players that are not American, or the same way for basketball is you'll get guys that are dual citizens, or however you are able to do the family tree route and find out, hey, you know what, I'm not going to make the American team, but I can play on the French team. I think this is going to be more interesting than you think.
All right. Is there anybody? Let's say that there's a.
Yeah, I got an idea.
Hold on here. If there's a French guy, let's just say, and he's a fringe player in the NFL, and then he goes out in the summer and has an incredible flag football Olympics, is his value going up based on his performance and all this? Is there upside for other teams in other countries, and maybe these fringe sort of players making a little bit of light, getting a spotlight on another team that's just not that good?
I think so.
All right. Well, let's see. That I like that.
That's upside. Like I said, I think a real big part of this is going to be that it's going to be more like, for the main sports like basketball. This isn't going to be baseball where they have have hats on, and not like normal football where you have helmets on. You're going to see these guys. I think you're going to see a little more of their personality. I think that this is going to be popular to watch with I have to imagine if it's going to be like this year's Olympics, of the Olympics are going to be the first week of August. So we're almost like as far away from football as possible. And now the Olympics are on, and you could just watch a random flag football game. And I don't know. I feel like someone's gonna pop out, and will they all of a sudden make the jump to the NFL? I mean, probably not. But if then you find out, oh well, the Ravens really like this guy, and they're on Hard Knocks. I could see there being some following there.
I think that's the best case scenario of all of this, is that we get that storyline. I don't think this will be very close, although I'm not saying it's a guaranteed victory, but you think we can lose at this? Like, who's going to beat us? You actually think this will be a competition? Or am I being so naive? And I mean, I don't know what this is going to look like.
I mean, maybe you're closer to right of this is a dream team situation of there's just no one that is playing even close to our level. But I just know now when the U.S. goes to international competitions, it's sometimes just like those rule changes. And this is a big jump from, tackle football to flag football versus, the international rules for basketball are slightly different. Mostly the same. But this is a big difference. It's one thing to have to, tackle a guy. It's another thing to have to grab the flag. It's a different skill set. I mean, it's close, but I think it's a bigger jump. I mean, the teams are smaller. I think there's going to be more to it. And I don't know the roster sizes. Is this going to be, hey, you have an offense and a defense, or is this going to be, hey, you need to have a certain 25% of your team has to be able to play offense and defense. So you're not just looking at, okay, is Tyrese Hill faster than everybody else? It's like, well, can he guard people?
All right, so you think it's going to be exciting then? You're in for this.
I'm in for this for sure. You mentioned the Dream Team. So the original Dream Team definitely has a mix of some younger and some older, guys all the way through. I saw this idea thrown out. Want to know what you think about it? You're thinking, hey, this is going to be a cupcake walk anyway. Here's an opportunity for a guy. Already got a lot of wins. We bring in Tom Brady. He's the starting quarterback for a flag football team. USA. One last ride.
No. I mean, would he want to do it? Maybe. Is he crazy enough to do it? Maybe. But is that our best option? No. It's not our best option.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. He's 40-something years old. He's not going to do this. He is healthier than he's ever been, though. I will tell you that. He takes
That's
care of himself.
He's been,
he has not slacked off that
getting a little downtime.
No, I don't want any of that. I'll ask you this though: is there a hope in this that this will kind of rejuvenate flag football here, and that we'll be watching flag football even if it's not the Olympics? Say like those qualifiers you talked about, that those suddenly become a little bit more watchable, a little bit more interesting, and that sort of sparks another football league in America.
I think there is already. I mean, there's definitely
one. I'm just saying it's not on our radar.
There's some sort of a small. It's just the NFL is king versus everything. So to try to compete with that, and then the problem is right now, I'm going to call it like the main guy for flag football. He was vocal about it. I think it was right at the end of the last Olympics when this got announced, and I've been seeing it in the past couple of days. Once this news came out, saying, oh, well, we've been playing flag football our whole lives. These guys, they're just regular football players. So, you got to give us some respect. And just like, sure. Okay.
Let's have a combine.
Millions of dollars for this. And, like, hey, you're the quarterback and you weigh 140. Maybe you are the best out there. I don't know. But it just sure seems like the guys that I watch there, on Sundays. But I don't think this is going to really make a big change for a flag football league.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if I really care who's going to be there or not. Will it be fun to see certain guys there? There's definitely a dream list. You've named a couple already that would be. Oh,
that's what I mean. This is it's a chance for them play for the country, and it's going to be like a week, 2 weeks tops. So it's almost like for us as fans, more of like an exhibition.
Hey, what if there's a chance and we like this more? What if we like it? What if it's a faster pace with less stops? Less injuries?
That would be interesting. I think we still like the hits.
Less penalties? You're not even allowed to hit anyone anymore. So like maybe we should go the other degree where there's no hitting.
You go out there and play and find out if you get hit or not.
All right. Yes, that's fair.
I think there's still hits. Maybe, the quarterback is still kind of ridiculous, but I think saying that there's no hits. I mean, there's not the the jacked up hits on a regular basis. They're not celebrated, but there's still some hits, and it's still very real.
All right, let's get out of here. Let's talk a little ESPN, a little around the horn. They aired their last episode on Friday. I don't know about you, but 5 o'clock on the East Coast for me was around the horn time for a lot of my lifetime. Tony Reali being more or less the host. I know that there was Max Kellerman was the host prior to that. I do not even remember that era. It's always been Tony as far as I remember, but the amount of news reporters, broadcasters, people on this show that are still in my life and a variety of other podcasts and have gone on to have very, very successful careers. It all kind of boils back to the first time I saw a lot of these people and discovered a lot of these names was on Around the Horn. I don't know what they're going to air instead of all this. I'm very shocked that this isn't just moving to a different time frame. I think Tony Reali is about the biggest green light of like approval sports person you could have. I mean, there's no bias in this guy at all. He's very professional. He's very clean. I don't know anything about him outside of his career. I'm just shocked that no one else is jumping on the bandwagon of Tony Reali, that we've reached to the point that this show is now canceled. And I'm ready to start it up. You want me to do it? You think I can do Tony, or do you want to be Tony? You want to be on the panel? Can I trust you with the mute button?
Oh, I don't want to be the host.
No.
No, I don't. No, I want to be on the panel. I want to go against these other guys, these other titans. I mean, this is the way that you found out about other sports, regions, where it's like, oh, this guy seems kind of biased for Texas. And after, because you're a kid when you're watching, you're like, oh, because he worked. Oh, okay. Now I'm understanding this. I mean, 23 years, 4,900 episodes. That's crazy. And I totally get how, Sports Center has been getting phased out, because Sports Center, 6 o'clock. Okay, so you're going to tell me all of the stuff that happened like 24 hours ago? Like, we all know it. Like, that doesn't really work anymore. You kind of still check it out. But is it later in the day? For sure. 5 o'clock around the horn. But it seems like ESPN has been moving more and more towards, hey, how can we get people arguing? And I don't really care for the morning radio arguing, but this I was always a fan of. I don't know if it was because it was 4, because it kept it to a half an hour, so it was very quick. But I very much agree with you on this is where I was introduced to a lot of the sports personalities, especially as I was going through and looking back, and some of the decent number have moved on from ESPN. But when I think back, oh yeah, I saw them on Around the Horn, and I think it was a great spot for ESPN to kind of, I don't know if it was test out or exactly what it would be of, hey, here's some younger guys. They're anchoring Sports Center. We can put them on here. And as a younger person watching this is like, hey, these guys are cooler. Like this guy's been around for whatever. Here's some new people.
I thought them being stuck to 30 seconds apiece made it that there couldn't just be bickering. There couldn't just be interrupting. It was, you have to give your best spiel as quick as possible so I can get to the next person.
There was points.
And there was points. No, it was
good. Points. So you didn't have to necessarily agree with Tony, but it's going along of, hey, he's making a good point. Or sometimes you have to jump in and go, hey, you're not saying anything. Like, here's minus points. Yeah. Where all the other argument shows, you leave it and it just, like, all right, that was entertainment, but it's kind of like the sports. If there's a winner and there's a loser.
Well, I'd also like to think Tony was trying to get the most out of every single second of that show, knowing I've got 4 panelists, myself, and commercials and ads, and we only have these,
and we got 6 topics. We got 6 topics to cover, and that's it.
And there's no extra time. The next PTI is coming on at this time, whether you are ready or not. Like, so
you gotta go.
I think that was good, though. If anything, a lot of these shows and these podcasts, there's almost too much air. There's too much space. There's too much time where you get to ramble on and shine in your light for as long as you want, and then the other guy gets to do his shine, and maybe you interrupt because you disagree a little bit in there, and then that's your entertainment of all this. It's Jerry Springer. It's and the baby is, and controversy, drama. Just cue it all right now, and it's too predictable too. What I liked about this is I was excited to see different opinions, you said, from different regions that routinely disagreed with each other. It wasn't like I saw 4 guys on here agree. Even the guys that agree would maybe even agree a little differently. But I respected the hell out of the show. I thought everybody on it was very, very authentically themselves, and that's exactly what they needed to be in the show. Any hope for this maybe being revived on another network or another platform? Like I said, I don't know who doesn't want to be in business with Tony Reali, or if there's something I don't know about him, because I think that's the perfect guy. Even if it wasn't even a sports show hosted, like, could you not just see him hosting anything else?
I'm very interested to see what he does next. Very, very charming, as well as here are these crazy people arguing. Is able to balance it out with humor, is able to direct the conversation as it needs to go, makes it look super easy. It's not easy. It's not easy, and he's been able to do it with all sorts of different people for a long time, and they throw celebrities in there. I'm interested to see what he does next. All the other personalities, they'll get put on, other shows. In the meantime, what they are going to put on instead of Around the Horn, I don't even know how this is possible, but it is Sports Center. So I'm not sure if they're doing a 5 o'clock half-hour Sports Center to PTI to then a 6 o'clock Sports Center. I don't know, but I'm sure that'll just be temporary. But yeah, it just seemed like an idea for a show that you could constantly keep new, because the topics are new every day, and the cast of characters, it's only 4 each day, and so it is changed over time. And you have things like Woody, who's been there forever, and then you have other people that they did a stint there and then they've moved on, whether it's to other parts of the company or to completely other companies.
I don't know why you wouldn't want a show where you could have, I don't know, a TikTok star come in for 10 minutes to do this segment and it's over. Like, they don't even need to win. Say they get eliminated in the first round, or if they play good, they go on to the next round. But, like, it's hard to mix in other people in other shows. Like, you can't just go into First Take and to have a 5-minute monologue on your first take. Nobody's going to let you do that. This show could give you 30 seconds, and you could eventually lead to a 5-minute monologue somewhere else. I don't see that happening anywhere else. This was, the other thing is, I'm saying this like it was a trajectory. These guys are already successful journalists for all their properly represented areas. These are successful people already. They're not just off the street, but I don't know.
All right, I meant to warn you about this, but I'm gonna put you on the spot instead. Can't name multiple. Favorite contestant and least favorite contestant.
I always loved Woody with the chalkboard. That's a favorite.
Yep. Who's your least favorite?
Oh man, that's not fair. I don't know. I feel like I'm just thinking of names, and I like everyone here. Least favorite.
You don't have to. If you don't have one, I for sure I have one, so it's easy for me.
Who's yours? Maybe I agree with you.
Bill Plaschke. Couldn't stand him.
You're just an anti-LA guy. I don't hate Plaschke.
That's part of it too. But just a whiner, and just he was on the Celtics documentary, and it just brought me right back to it. Knew what he was doing, but it's not a real dislike. It's just like for Around the Horn, I knew if he was on, like, I wanted to root against him.
I don't want to. I'll give you this. I didn't like when anyone else hosted, even the guest host. And I'm not even saying they did a bad job. I just think Tony does that much better of a job.
Fair.
And you know who those guys are. They're great. They've gone on to great things. All right. We got to get out of here. Make sure everyone subscribe. Little column A, little column B. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. And make sure you follow Zach on his X account, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Schedule might get a little wacky over the next couple of weeks, but we will be back, and you will get some updates from your favorite Duke and Boston fans over here.
Well, little column A, little column B.